Hello! Welcome back to another episode of D Van D Studios. Or to D Van D Studios. Yeah, anyway. Uh, Topic of the day. No, I don't plan on making it a series like a daily topic type thing, although that wouldn't be a bad idea. No, artist tools. Specifically, palette knives. What are they for? Well, quite simply, a palette knife is for mixing paint. Specifically, these kind mix particularly well, the nice wide blades. Depending on what you're using it for. I mean, if you're simply using it to mix your paint, then, well, that's all it is, and it really doesn't, the shape doesn't really have any real purpose or use other than mixing your paint. Yeah. I got two of them, Bob Ross and Master's Touch from Hobby Lobby. Probably shouldn't mention that, but whatever. No, they're not sponsoring me. But they come in various different shapes. And as you can see, there's this shape, and it's got the nice, broad angle there. And then it's got this thinner angle up, thinner, straight up here. So you got that one, and you can use it, on the canvas with the broader angle like that, or you can use this smaller angle, and it'll give you different marks. How you hold your palette knives is entirely up to you. You can choke up here on the handle. You can hold it down here on the blade, whichever. You can hold it right on the ferrule. But then, well, of course, there's different shapes. And if they're only meant for palette, for mixing paint on your palette, then why would there be a lot of different shapes? Where's my other one? Well, I use it most often. Shit, where'd it go? Well, fuck. Here's another, here's another shape. Here's another shape. This big old long thing. Also, the offset. Offset keeps your knuckles from dragging on the canvas. That's all that's for. Literally, it just keeps your knuckles off of the canvas, the offset. Because when you got the flat blade like this, yeah, you can keep your knuckles physically off the canvas, but you have a tendency to kind of relax your grip a little bit, so you get it scraping your knuckles scraping the canvas. Which obviously, you could scrape into the paint and all that good stuff, and you don't want to do that because then you got to go back and fix it. Oh yeah, here's the one I more regularly use to mix my paint. And this one's got a nice, as you can see, flexible blade to it, so you can get different, various pressure. And the different pressure will give you different marks and stuff on your canvas. Obviously, that's really what the different shapes are for, to give you different marks on your canvas. Now, today I'm just going to tint this canvas for a painting that I'm going to be working on. And I figured while I'm doing that, I could just as easily show you some of the marks that various palette knives will leave. So to tint my canvas to start off with, I'm going to use some cadmium yellow deep hue. Fortunately, I am not at the point where I can afford, expensive paint. It's expensive. This tube here was like $7.95 or something like that, plus tax. And it's just a 1.25 ounce fluid ounce tube, 37 milliliter tube. And that was almost $8. And this is Grumbacher. They're a cheaper brand. I mean, they come in student, artist grade, and professional grade also, but the hue is generally cheaper than the single pigment. And honestly, I don't think, where is that? Well, this is a single pigment, PY139. Excellent light fastness. But anyway, enough of that. Let me get on with tinting out this canvas. Now, if you want, and it's entirely subjective, it's entirely up to you, depending on the texture you like your paint. You can mix in some of this liquid, some of this, Winsor Newton's famous little product here. No, Winsor Newton didn't sponsor me either. I don't have any sponsors. Be cool if I did, but I don't. I got a small channel. Ain't nobody going to be sponsoring me right now. But anyway, if you want to, you can use, some of this liquid to mix into your paint and mass, thin it out a little bit, and makes it go further. Also makes it dry faster, which is pretty much what it's for. Speed dry time. Oh, yeah, also, if you're using a palette knife to get liquid out of your container, make sure your palette knife is clean. Make sure there's no wet paint on the knife that'll get down inside your liquid, because that will contaminate your liquid and ruin it. I did have a toasted bottle up here, but I have already thrown it away. And trust, you don't want to do that. This stuff is $20 for this bottle, plus tax. So you don't want it to get ruined. But let's see. So we'll start out with this knife right here. I'm not tinting this cad yellow or anything. That's just it's going on in mass, meaning out of the tube. What the paint, the color of the paint, the pigment, all of that right out of the tube. And so if you get a little bead going across the blade of your knife, the width of it, whichever, you can see there's a nice wide mark just like that. And if you get some going across the thin, you can see that'll leave a different, a thinner mark. And you can slice right across your puddle of paint. You got a good enough puddle there. You can slice across it, and if you use it straight on, you can make lines. I don't know how well you can see that, but if you can see it at all, you can make lines. Works great. Just for that purpose. I mean, Now, you might ask, is there a difference between a palette knife and a painting knife? No. If you're using it to mix paint on your palette, it's a palette knife. If you're using it to apply paint to a canvas, it's a painting knife. There's no secret to that. Same knife. Doesn't matter what you use it for. So that leaves that mark. And then you got this, oddly shaped little guy. This guy's pretty cool. You can use this for some kind of, say you were painting a tree. You can use it for some kind of cool shaped leaves. But as you can see from that little rounded point right there, put it over here. It'll give you a kind of like rounded application onto the canvas. Like so. Kind of rounded, and you can get those, cool little leafy shapes with it. And I think, if you use the very heel here of your knife, you can get kind of rounded shapes, just a bigger rounded shape with the heel of it. So that's that one. And they all just, that's why they have different shapes. It's just to give you different marks on your canvas. You can also use your palette knife to scumble. Just for that, let's show you a slightly different color so you can more effectively see the scumble. Hold on while I mix it just real quick with a little bit of liquid and a little bit of, I'm going to use some yellow ochre, mix that with some liquid and some lemon yellow ochre medium hue. Yeah. Not yellow ochre, my bad. Damn. Cadmium yellow deep hue. And some lemon yellow. And then a little bit of liquid. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Grab a little more of that lemon. Paints have been sitting on my palette for a couple of days, so they're a little stiff. That's all right. All right, so just mix yourself up a puddle, you know, and then whatever color you're using, that's obviously entirely up to what it is that you're painting. So you got your color mixed. Whoa, grabbed more liquid in there. So you got your color mixed up to where you want it. Spread it out in a little row. Yeah, okay, you can see that, I think. Cut across it like so. Get you a little bead row of paint on there. It's a Bob Ross thing, he said. Cut across it a lot. He painted wet on wet. I'm not necessarily going to be painting this wet on wet. I don't do wet on wet. But you can use it to do some scumbling. Very light touch. Make sure you, and this is where an offset will help here. Keep your knuckles off the canvas. Very light touch, you just drag right across the surface of the canvas and let come off of the knife whatever comes off of the knife. And see how it leaves that kind of rough texture. That, plain and simple, is scumbling. I don't know how well you can see that, but let's see. Good. Yeah. Plain and simple, that's scumbling. You just very light touch. You allow the paint that is already on the canvas, whatever color it is, whatever value it is, to pick up the paint that is on the knife. Whatever comes off, if you're looking for like a rough texture or something like that, for like a tree bark or maybe rocks or, you know, something like that, scumbling will help give you that rough texture. There's other ways in which you can scumble, and it'll give you other textures and things like that, but that's scumbling, plain and simple. What about this odd looking shape? This one is a little different in the way I would, for me anyway, the way I would pick up the paint with it. Because of the offset, if you pick it up like this and apply it to your canvas, now your offset is in the opposite direction that it should be, and you risk dragging your knuckles through your paint. Don't want to do that. So for me, I tend to pick it up on the back of the knife, like so, and then I can apply that to my canvas. As you can see, you can get a similar like wide mark with it. You can also get little pointy, points like that. You could create some interesting shapes with that. Interesting shaped leaves, maybe. Kind of abstract shaped leaves. Because, I mean, you could, if you with enough manipulation and control of your palette knife, you can also get the regular, more recognizable shapes of leaves. But that's all various shapes really do. And the various sizes you can cover, obviously, you can cover more surface area with a larger size palette knife. And this one has got that rounded point on there, so it's going to kind of leave a rounded mark on there. These all have flexible blades. See, you can also, if you've got some schmutz in your paint, you've got some maybe some dried bits of paint on there on your canvas from picking up paint out of the dry puddle. Excuse my armpit there. You can use the edge of the point of the knife to remove any of those dried bits that may have gotten onto your canvas, little hair that might have gotten onto your canvas if you have pets. Because if you're painting in a room with pets, it's inevitable you're going to get hair on your canvas. You can't really avoid that. Except to kick the pet out. You can kick the pet out. You can always kick the pet out. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. I'm going to wrap that up right here. I might do a series on various other artist tools, but for now, that's the palette knife, and that's basically what it's for. Like I said, if you're using it on your palette to mix your paints, it's a palette knife. If you're using it on your canvas to apply the paint to the canvas, it's painting knife. They're all basically the same. And there are there are much larger sizes than this one. Some really odd shaped ones. What I painted my abstract leaves with most of the time until it broke, and I haven't replaced it yet, is this one here with that little point on it. I think that's great for painting abstract leaves. That's even if you want leaves on your trees. You can just paint dead trees that don't have any leaves on them, or all dried up, shriveled, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to wrap that up right here. If y'all like this kind of comment or kind of content, do me a favor, man. Smash that like button. Hit the subscribe if you're not already. And the bell notification, don't forget that so you don't miss any of my future videos. I'm going to finish up tinting this, and I will catch y'all later. And yeah, have a day.